Raw Takes and Company, episode 9. Hope everyone is having a fantastic week. Jake is off today. Matthias Andahar, though, is back in the building. Matthias, good to have you back.
Yeah, glad to be back. Definitely less congested than I was last week, so I'm glad to be back and ready to make some more content.
And we also want to give a shout out to Jake as well. And also hope you had a good Thanksgiving as well. Spend some time with family and watch some good football.
Yeah, not the results we wanted on Thanksgiving Day, but good football nonetheless, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, let me look at one of the. There was a comment. I forget who said it, but there was a comment on one of our reels that said "Oh for 3," and I want to give props to that guy. The comment is going to be right here. I have it right here. I'm pointing to it. I just can't remember the guy's username, but I want to give him props. He was right. We were 0 for 3. We deserved the criticism there. We did not get a single Thanksgiving game right, and
Yeah,
we
got
didn't
got
get.
to lock in.
We didn't even get the Black Friday game right, and we didn't get the first game that ended on what was it? It was the not the Black Friday game, the first 1 o'clock game on Sunday. It was
Yeah,
Carolina and the Rams, I think. We also got wrong. So we were like 0 for 5 until later on. But still, Jake has a commanding lead, and you and I are dueling for second place essentially right now.
yeah, sure are. But yeah, it was we're going to talk about it more in detail later on the show, but it was so funny because I was just like staring laying in my bed while I was making the pick and I was like Chiefs, Cowboys, and I was like back and forth on it for like 5 minutes. And I was like, you know what, fine. Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be desperate. Let's just roll into it. And then lost the coin toss. But yeah, just a whole lot of great sports, not only football, but also basketball. Yeah, and what we're going to start is college football. Is that right, Andrew?
Yep, we are going to start with college football. All right, let's get right away to Ohio State and Michigan. So we'll spend a little bit of time on this because I just want to start laughing.
If you're laughing, it's not picking up any audio, and I think that's funnier.
This was supposed to be the decade of Michigan, right?
Yeah, it sure was.
Oh my goodness, dude, Matthias, I'll be completely honest with you, man. What was that? What was that egg that Michigan dropped? Michigan didn't score a touchdown in the end zone. Didn't score a play in the end zone for the first time since 2007 against Ohio State. So we got to give props to Matt Patricia right off the rip in that defense holding down the Buckeyes. So yeah, so props to Matt Patricia. Also, Ryan Day, I think, looked more confident in the Michigan game than he did ever in his coaching career. I don't know if you would agree with me on that, but on the sidelines, you could see him having fun, calling anything he essentially wanted. I mean, and, obviously the loss of Hartline now going to another program, that's going to be big maybe for the future. But however, for right now with Hartline's offense and Ryan Day, tons of props to those guys and how they did that scheme against Michigan. I mean, that was just incredible. It was just an incredible. I did not expect the Ohio State offense to be as good as they were. And obviously, Julian Sayin made some mistakes early, but that 6 point deficit is the largest deficit Ohio State had all season long, and they overcame it with ease. And granted, I think if Ohio State takes control of the rivalry for the next couple of years, which they very well may, if they take control of the rivalry for the next couple of years, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens next with, and especially when we look back on the Michigan years, when Michigan won these last 4 games, to be quite honest with you, because we talked about the scandals and everything that went on. And if Ohio State takes back the rivalry for a couple more years here, we may look back on the Michigan dominance from 2021 to 2024 and say, how that happened? Were they in Ryan Day's head or were they the scandals? But I want to give you some time.
Yeah, it was just like not only the scandals. I haven't looked too deep into that quite yet, but I think it's just I think I saw a statistic earlier earlier this week. I forgot if it was for the year or for like a couple years, but there was a statistic that the Ohio State University is the only team in both college and professional football that has not been down or hasn't been down going into halftime.
Hmm.
And that I think you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about Matt Patricia last week. He had another opportunity to make fans of Michigan suffer, and he sure did. But this time he won instead of being the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Um, but yeah, even also with the comments, with the comment not on our video, but with overall just people talking about that catch by Jeremiah Smith, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, that looked like that it fumbled and it would have been a touchback, yada yada. If you take those 7 points away, it's still 20-9. Like, and Michigan, I don't think they were going to score. Like, it was a fourth down and all that, but Michigan, they were lifeless. They had more effort defending their field when the game was over than they were during the play.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous. Like you said, we haven't seen Ohio State win, let alone this dominant in years. And it's just that's got to be a gut punch to Michigan fans and for Ohio State. Especially Ryan Day. I think that was the last hurdle that he personally needed to clear. I'm not saying that was going to keep him from any conversations, but I think that personally that was the last hurdle he was going to clear. I mean, that he had to clear, and he did with flying colors. And I could see Ohio State too, Peting. I think now it's a time of the Ohio State versus the field when it comes to national championship.
And you know what? It's going to be a real test against Indiana this week, but I will say what makes me confident, Matthias, is the fact Indiana almost lost to Penn State.
Yeah.
I think that makes me feel really, really good. It does going into this game. But granted, you never know. Before we move off of college football, obviously Alabama beating Auburn, that was a big matchup. Texas A&M
Iron
losing
Bowl.
to Texas, that's big because now Ohio State and Indiana are literally the only two undefeated teams left in the top five. So you got to give Texas props there for that win, even though Texas as a whole this season has not been very impressive. Um, and also, one more thing too before we move on as well. Brian Hartline moving to South Florida to become the Bulls head coach. Obviously, an Ohio native. We're not going to spend too much time on this, Matthias. I think it's well deserved. I can understand why he's taken a head coaching position. And do I think Ohio State's offense is going to suffer from this? Not really. I think Ryan Day knew what the hell he was doing in that Michigan game, and that's why I think he deserves some props, and I think they're going to find the right offensive guy. Now, if Matt Patricia was leaving, which hell, Matt Patricia might get a head coaching job too in a college program after this season for a terrific job that he did. But granted, if Matt Patricia stays another year, I would love that, and I would be a little bit more upset about that because to me, the defense is the force of this team. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith and Julian saying props to him outside of the interception, phenomenal game on Saturday. But what do
Mhm.
you make of Hartline heading down to South Florida?
Um, I don't really think much of it outside of just congrats to him. Um, he has helped make an amazing turnaround for this Ohio State offense, and yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about the guy. I think when it comes to coaching decisions, there's been a lot more newsworthy decisions that happened across the league instead of that. Um, but yeah, it's still a big one. Congrats to him. I hope he does the best, except for beating Ohio State. Other than beating Ohio State, I hope he does great.
Well, we'll see if he ends up beating Ohio State because it's South Florida. They're not going to play too often. They're not even in the same conference.
Yeah.
Not even in the same conference. So I don't think we're going to have too much to worry about there. But we'll see what happens with the Bulls going forward with Brian Hartline as their new head coach. And obviously, congrats to him. And congrats to everybody who was a part of Ohio State Buckeye Nation for a phenomenal win this past Saturday. And also, I want to give a shout out to Brutus for what he did. I mean, I'm sure that Ryan Day had a talk with Brutus after the game to be a little bit more sportsmanlike, but at
That's
the
my
end of the day,
mascot.
I'm sure he did, but that was hilarious. Brutus up to his old tricks yet again. That was hilarious. I'm just gonna say that off the rip. Brutus, even though you probably weren't giving good sportsmanlike conduct there, thank you for crossing off the M. And Ohio State back in the driver's seat of the Michigan rivalry. Well, I don't want to say that till they win two in a row, but they're back in control as of at least 2025. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna get to the
I
NFL.
will
Yeah, what's up?
I will say one last thing for news. For college football, Ole Miss, having one of their best seasons, if not their best season in program history, 11-1, seventh seed, and their head coach, Lane Kiffin, after doing all of these
I can't believe
accomplishments
I
with
forgot
them.
about Lane Kiffin. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, I got you. But like
Yeah.
all the accomplishment that he has done with this Ole Miss squad, he saw bigger money and bigger pastures. So he's getting out of there. He's heading down to LSU. And man, I think like there's going to be more news later today that just shows like the cutthroat of just sports. But like I feel like this is just devastating, especially for the kids of like you guys start falling in love with the coach. Like you guys are part of what will probably be a historic team for Ole Miss. Ole Miss has not had a record like this in almost ever. And yet you know that your coach is leaving before the season even ends.
Yeah.
Like it's heartbreaking, but you got to just keep on of like if you're the players of like we know him coaching have didn't make you guys catch the ball.
Hmm.
It didn't make you guys block better.
Hmm.
Like like the players do have a play in it and yeah, just got to move on from it. But yeah, Lane Kiffin, follow where the money goes. I understand. I don't agree, but I understand, I guess. But like, man, what a move for him to make.
I 100% agree with you. I don't. I think everyone saw him leaving Ole Miss coming, to be quite honest with you, a while ago. But at the same time, the way he went to LSU as quickly as he did, I think was the shocker. I
Yeah,
don't think anyone expected it was going to be boom LSU right away the next day. I don't think anyone saw that coming. And it's going to be interesting to see what the future of both Ole Miss and LSU are after this move. But Lane Kiffin, huge move in college football. We're going to have to see what takes place moving forward with both of those programs. But it's going to be really interesting because Matt Patricia's out there too, and I like to throw it out there. I mean, I think Matt Patricia probably stays another year with Ohio State. At least I hope he does, but he's probably done enough to deserve another head coaching job too. Not in the NFL. I want to emphasize that. But one more
no.
thing too before we move on, Matt Patricia continues to make Michigan fans sad from inside the state and outside the state because when he was the Detroit Lions head coach, he didn't do a very good job. But certainly it seems like that grudge lasted all the way till his days as the Ohio State Buckeyes defensive coordinator. All right, you ready for the NFL, Matthias?
Sure am.
All right, we got 10 games to go over, 5 games for each of us. Matthias, you're going to start off with your Pittsburgh Steelers and Buffalo Bills.
How much time do I have?
You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay. Um, man, this felt like a funeral of just wow. Like not for the season. I'm not yet at least.
Hmm.
But man, like absolute this felt devastating because you watch it and it didn't feel like a what 26-7 game.
Did not,
Like
no.
it didn't feel like that. Like the Steelers defense early and fairly often were actually doing something. They were slowing down Josh Allen. They I forgot if it was a fumble or an interception, but they made the Bills commit a turnover, and it was like, okay, we have some momentum, and then the same old song and dance. And the Steelers, after where the defense finally being able to do something, their offense did nothing. And you could blame the Aaron Rodgers injury, but even even with Aaron Rodgers there, it just felt off. Like it felt more off than regular Steelers football, which is a miracle at this point because the Steelers never play normally. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, his injury being more serious now. Don't know if he comes back next week or this upcoming week. It's a hellhole in Pittsburgh right now, and it's just like, man, like what the heck do we think of this team? For Buffalo, congrats. Yeah, Andrew, what thoughts do you have? Sorry, I took most of the time, but man, this team's got me feeling down.
Well, I'm going to defend Mike Tomlin. That's what I'm going to do with the remainder of my
Oh
time.
boy.
Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. Mike Tomlin, while the Steelers have been mediocre the last few seasons, to a degree, they're still winning every season. And also, they haven't found their option at quarterback. They've had to go the bridge route a couple times. They tried with Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett didn't work. You got to give them credit. They moved on and did the right thing. The Steelers need to find a quarterback. And either they're going to have to move off of Mike Tomlin, find a new head coach, tank a season, go 4-13, and draft a quarterback high, or keep Mike Tomlin, which is probably the smarter option because I think you and I both agree, Matthias, and I don't mean to go too much over time here, but you and I both probably agree that if Mike Tomlin is fired by the Steelers tomorrow or even at the end of the season, which I don't think he will be, but if he is, he's going to have a head coaching job probably the same month, like immediately. He's going to be somewhere else that quickly, and that team's not going to have a losing season. I'm just saying. Like he'd be a great head coach for the New York Giants or the Miami Dolphins, wouldn't he? I'm just being honest.
I we're we're going overtime. We're talking about this. For context, listeners,
Yeah.
we had a bit of a debate in our little text chain, but
Yes, we did.
yeah, just so here's the thing with continual mediocrity, continual 9-8, 8-9, 10-7, yada yada.
Not 8-9. Mike Tomlin has not been 8-9.
Okay, yeah.
8-8 is his worst record overall.
Continual barely scraping above failure. You don't get a good pick and you don't like using a word that you say we don't have an idea an identity like
And I don't even like
the
that phrase.
because it's like the standard is the standard, so then what the heck is the standard? 9-8. Why is that the standard? Why like I truly believe that the better option is getting rid of Mike Tomlin, tanking for a season, two, heck, a half decade, build our
Half
team.
decade of Steelers tanking. You're
I don't care.
you're
It's
willing to
been,
get swept by the Browns for a few
yes,
seasons.
sweep the Browns 10 games in a. I mean, get swept by the Browns 10 games in a row. If
You're
we
willing to
can
get
come
swept by the
back,
Browns 10 games in a row
if
in
we
order
could
for Mike
come
Tomlin
back
to
and
get
have
fired
an
from the Steelers. Okay.
actual if we could have an actual identity of a team and know what we are and not question why our offense looks like it's still in 2008 because we did trust Mike Tomlin. We thought it was a Matt Canada problem. We fired Matt Canada. Guess what? It's the same thing. It's gotten so bad that an old Aaron Rodgers has been one of our better quarterbacks as of recently because he looks at the plays Mike Tomlin calls and he goes, we're not doing that. And he audibles it because he's had those years of experience.
Mhm.
And a lot of the games this year, that has been one of the only reasons why the Steelers have won. And like, it's ridiculous. One big thing that you could look at it was like that first Bengals game. Aaron Rodgers, you could see him audibling multiple plays where it looks like they were going to run or throw short. And he's like, there's Pat Firemouth wide open and like just audibles, and lo and behold, there's a Pratt Firemouth touchdown, and like it's so infuriating. Like it's I would rather tank for, like I said, for the half decade, to have Browns fans laugh at Steelers fans, yada yada, whatever, and then be able to actually turn around and do something and be actual contenders instead of barely winning seasons, potentially making the playoffs, and then not winning because we want to be contenders. We don't want to be, oh, we're in the playoffs again. Yippee. Like that's not Steeler way. Steelers way isn't, oh, we're in the playoffs and we're happy about it. Steelers way is we want rings. And it doesn't seem like Mike Tomlin like it doesn't seem like he wants a ring. He wants to keep the record of I have never had a losing season. I think that has become more important to him than getting a ring. And
I
like that,
disagree with that, but we could agree to disagree.
yeah, like that's no knock on him. That's an amazing record. But we just need something different. It's time for Steelers country to change. And I don't think it's going to happen either, but I think it should. I'm going to leave it like that. I think I ranted for a bit too long.
You're fine. You're the Steelers fan here. I will just say this. Uh, Even though Steelers fans, I think, are wrongfully upset, and if they think the season's collapsing, they're still 6-6. And I think they're going to personally beat the Ravens this weekend. I think they're going to take the division. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but I think they'll take the division this week. So I want to emphasize that. But if I'm the Steelers right now, at least you're not the Ravens in terms of they're the Ravens fan base calling for John Harbaugh when they've been contenders and have won playoff games. I think is actually even more asinine than Steelers fans calling for Mike Tomlin's job. I just do. I don't know how the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers personally could be upset with Harbaugh or Tomlin, the two longest tenured head coaches in football who do nothing but constantly win. But that's beside the point. That's just where I stand on that, and we can talk about that a different day because we got more games to get to. All right, here's a game I was very surprised by. One of the picks we got wrong:
Man.
Green Bay and Detroit in the Motor City. I guess I'll say this. In hindsight, I totally get why we got this pick wrong. Detroit, to me, right now, looks like they're heading for a late season collapse. They are injury prone inside and out. No Sam Laporta. They lost Amon-Ra St. Brown during the game. Outside of Penei Sewell, we don't know if they have an offensive line. They defensively, they're starting to get beat up. We obviously know Brian Branch has been on and off the field. Uh, it's getting pretty ugly for the Detroit Lions. And they had another, I forget who it was, but they had another defensive loss this week. Uh, if you could check that for me, Matthias, feel free. But there was another defensive player that out for the season this week. Detroit, to me, is in the middle of a late season collapse, I think. It's unfortunate, but I think they'll retool and be fine for 2026. Green Bay proved to me they're the class of the NFC North right now. I think Green Bay did enough in that game to prove to me. Romeo Dobbs had a great game. Jordan Love had a great game. Watson had a great game. Green Bay's got a good offensive line. Micah Parsons, and maybe that was just the fault of the Detroit Lion offensive line being as depleted as it is. But Micah Parsons had a game. Jared Goff did not have time to throw the football, and Jared Goff didn't have a bad game either. So to me, I just think the Green Bay Packers proved that they are better than the Detroit Lions and they're ready to win the NFC North. We could talk about the Bears in a little bit. I still am not a believer in them, and I think we'll find out with Green Bay this week why Green Bay probably will win the North. I still think the Browns and Panthers losses were weird, but the Panthers might be good. Heck, they beat the Rams this week. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So to me, like, I'm starting to buy into Green Bay stock. I think I've seen enough from them at this point to take them seriously. And I know that's been a big debate on this show. But that Detroit win was pretty solid. And it's unfortunate for the Lions. And I want to give you some time, Matthias. But it's unfortunate for the Lions with all the injuries.
No, yeah, you're good. And with the other injury, it's Kirby Joseph, which is
Kirby
so
Joseph.
funny.
I couldn't think of it for a minute. Thank you.
But yeah,
Yeah.
safety.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're down another safety. But I think the reason why the Lions lost was because it's a game on Thanksgiving. They have not won one of those in years.
They won one
Um,
last year.
yeah, but other than that, it's been moving on. But for
Yeah,
not a
I know.
lot of time left, I'm still out on the Packers. The Lions, I'm a bit disappointed, but I hope for the best for them.
I really think it's going to come down to injuries for the Lions, to be honest with you. Right now, they have a depleted roster, offensively and defensively. But Dan Campbell's still their head coach. They're probably going to figure out a way to get some more wins on their schedule. All right, Matthias, it's your turn. We're moving on to Indy and Houston. Go ahead.
So, do you like football? Then you'd love this game because this game had a bit of everything: injuries, ref ball, insane game. Here it is. Um, I'm disappointed in the Colts. Um, they should have finally taken this division lead. Like they had the division lead this whole year. Daniel Jones was playing injured, so should have looked at that and chosen the Texans, but he still played through it. He played mediocre, but teams are finally figuring out how to stop Jonathan Taylor. and they're doing it consistently, and that's scary for the Colts. I think the Colts are starting to sputter out. And yeah, the Texans, I don't know what's going on. I think they're having uncomfortable conversations of why Davis Mills is doing better than CJ Stroud. But
No,
yeah,
that's true.
0-3, starting 0-3, now in playoff contention form. Um, Texans are weird. Um, yeah, that's all I got. I'm afraid for the Colts and the Texans. They're coming up, maybe.
I think the Colts collapse that I've been predicting would happen is starting to happen. And they play Jacksonville this week. They haven't won in Jacksonville in I think 11 or 12 years. 2014, I think they've lost in Jacksonville every year. So, uh, yeah, I am. I'm starting to buy into the Houston Texans stock. If I'm anybody in the NFL and I know they have Kansas City this week. I don't want to play the Texans, man. That defense is scary. Forget about who's playing quarterback. I mean, CJ Stroud didn't look that impressive, but he didn't play terrible against the Colts. And obviously, yeah, you're right. Davis Mills has looked better than CJ Stroud in the games Davis Mills played in. So I won't argue there either. That's kind of a weird thing right now. But forget about the Texans offense. The Texans defense is
Defense.
loaded, led by Will Anderson by himself, who, if Myles Garrett didn't play for the Browns and didn't go for the sack record, Will Anderson might be the defensive player of the year, in all honesty. I think it's Myles Garrett right now, but still, like, and maybe Will Anderson would get it over Myles Garrett solely because the Texans may end up with a winning record. But I progress. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't want to play the Texans of anybody in the NFL. I wouldn't mind playing the Colts. That's where I stand. Moving on to the Browns and 49ers. Um, I'll tell you what, I wasn't amazed by the score of this game. I expected the Browns to get destroyed. I'll be completely honest with you. I did not expect them to win this game at all. I thought San Francisco had the edge. I thought San Francisco offensively would look a little bit better, which they did. They didn't look great, though. But I was stunned by the fact Shador looked as good as he did in this game, because I thought the San Francisco 49er defense was going to neutralize them a lot more than they did. And Shador Sanders kind of made the Browns offense look competent for as incompetent as it is, if that makes sense at all, Matthias. I mean, I'm not saying he played great. I'm not saying he played great. He played respectable. He played respectable at the quarterback position. I will say that. He did not look like an all world. I still have questions of how he's going to be long term. All that's still there for me. But Shador Sanders played good football on Sunday for what it's worth. For what it's worth. For a rookie
Yeah.
quarterback in his second start, who's a fifth round pick, I was not disappointed watching Shador Sanders. I was disappointed by the outcome because it was 26-8. You got absolutely blown to smithereens. But granted, Jerry Jeudy is starting to look like a bad trade. And, as much as I believed in him, I don't believe him anymore. There is a lot of flaws still with the Browns offense, offensive line in particular. I think is the biggest weakness right now. But I'll let you go ahead, Matthias. I don't really have much to say about the game besides the fact that Shador Sanders impressed me by the standpoint he didn't look awful and he didn't let the 49er defense completely dominate him. They
Yeah.
dominated the rest of the Browns offense.
Yeah, it was I mean, this game kind of went the way that I expected, except for the fact that I thought the Browns would have a lead. They almost did. I was almost really
Well, they,
smart.
they led 8-7 at one point, but then
Oh
they
yeah.
yeah,
Oh
but
yeah.
then they blew it. But still, yeah.
Oh yeah, never
They
mind. I
eight
was
to ten.
completely right. I'm really smart. But yeah, like I knew that the Browns defense was going to look good really early. They play the defense specifically always plays San Francisco good to start.
Mm-hmm.
And because the Browns have no form of offense, I knew they couldn't keep it up. What I didn't expect was for the special teams to absolutely lay a goose egg.
And you're right.
Like,
I didn't even mention Bubba Ventrone. He's got to go. The Browns got to make a move with Bubba Ventrone. He's not the future. Uh, he's not the future special teams coordinator. He's got to go
yeah,
at
like
the
that
end.
was absolute
I
goose
wouldn't
egg.
fire
Like,
him now. I'd fire him at the end of the season. The Browns are already bad, but
yeah, like
Bubba Ventrone's he's done. That was
I
time.
don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, like the defense, like if you look at the stats, Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey were held pretty well by the defense. But yeah, the special teams, and like there's still no offense. And like with what now I'll address the comments, even though I wasn't here. Like, I don't really see an issue with saying that a fifth round draft pick doesn't look like a first round draft pick. I don't I don't see the issue in that. I don't see how that makes us haters. But like, yeah, he looks like he's growing. He doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes yet. We're not saying he won't be Patrick Mahomes. We're not saying he will.
He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. Let's just
He
emphasize that right now.
Andrew's saying
He's not going to be
Andrew's saying
Patrick
he's not
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, so yell at him. But
He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. If he's even close to Patrick Mahomes, then fine. He'll have three Super Bowls, and the Browns will be the best franchise in the NFL in the next 10 years. I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm sorry.
what he said. But
you know,
yeah,
you know,
just
we appreciate all your comments no matter what. So feel free to leave your reactions below, and we will always like and respond to what we can. So we really appreciate it either way. We got a comment, by the way, later on from I love DK Metcalf. So feedback always appreciated, good or bad, because that's what the
uh,
show's about. uh, let's move on to the Bears and Eagles, Matthias. You have the floor for this one.
yep. I don't know who this game says more about. Um, I know I've been pseudo buying on Bear stocks when I pick them almost every week, except for my
Mhm.
Steelers. I mean, except for against my Steelers. Um, but other than that, like the Bears look competent. They look like the Broncos of the NFC, where their defense wins the games for them and their offense is inconsistent. Um, but Caleb Williams, in a game that they needed him, he showed up. Um, and he was a game manager. 154 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Um, Monungai, I forgot his first name, but Monungai just running the ball down the throats. I mean, down their throats. 130 yards for a touchdown, and yeah, just this was the Bears game. That this is their statement game to me. Like, I think they should be taken more seriously. I somehow they're on top of the NFC. Um, and yeah, I think the Eagles need a hard look in the mirror and in the locker room, um, with not only their players but specifically their coaching staff. Um, Patullo, be safe. Like, I think Philly fans are coming for him. They're coming for Sirianni. Like, it's rough.
We know
Um,
how Philly is. I mean,
yeah,
and if they think Sirianni should be on the hot seat, that's absurd. That is insanely absurd. Um, I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the the NFC East. Just going to point that on the record. I think they're going to come back and win the NFC East. They're now a game and a half behind the Eagles. So I want to say that because no one has repeated in that division in a long, long time, and Dallas is now primed to go back and take it over. But to the Bears, no, I don't believe in Caleb Williams. I do believe in their defense a little bit more. Ben Johnson is doing a great job as their head coach. I think we are not talking about that enough. He has come in there and has changed the culture for the Bears. And while this is a great start for them, I still don't think it's going to last long. They play Green Bay this week, and I have no doubt in my mind that the Green Bay Packers are the better football team. Do you remember what Ben Johnson said in his opening press conference about playing Green Bay twice a year and about Matt
I don't.
LaFleur?
No, I don't.
Well, he said that in his press conference. I think Matt LaFleur is going to have the Packers ready to go on Sunday against Chicago. I do. And because of that, I absolutely am taking Green Bay over Chicago this week, but we'll get into one pick, one sentence in a little bit. Um, Nevertheless, though, yeah, props to Chicago for being 9-3. Don't know how long it's going to last, but they deserve credit for it. They are number one in the NFC right now. I'm not going to argue that. Rams and Panthers, you know, I'll be honest with you, Matthew Stafford was due for some mistakes. So this was the game where those mistakes happened. Don't think Matthew Stafford needs to be the story of this game, though. Don't think the Rams really do. The Rams really didn't need this game. I think this was really a prove it game for Bryce Young. And you know what? Bryce Young got the job done in this game. I don't think anyone's talking about that. Bryce Young probably had his best game of the season in this game against a really good defense. And while I'm not a huge believer in Bryce Young, and while I'm not a huge believer in the Panthers, they're 7-6. They're in the wild card conversation. They're in the NFC South conversation. If I'm Tampa Bay, I'm worried about playing Carolina twice. You're probably going to split that series, and it's going to come down to a game or a win here or there. I mean, Carolina's in contention for the South. So if I'm Baker and the Bucks, that concerns me, especially with the injuries they've had. Um, if Bryce Young plays like he did again on Sunday, he's going to start to put together some wins, and Carolina is going to be off the right track. They're already on the right track, to be honest with you. They have a better team than I think people have given them credit around them, around Bryce Young. And Dave Canales is doing a great job as their head coach, and I don't think that's being talked about enough. But Carolina is now a team you have to take seriously. And you look at some of their wins on their schedule. Sure, they have a negative point differential, but they've beaten Green Bay. They've also beaten the Rams now. I mean, that's two impressive wins. That's two impressive wins. So to me, it's time to start taking Carolina seriously. Does it mean they're going to win a playoff game or make some spectacular run? I don't think so. But I'm taking the Panthers seriously. Matthias, what do you think?
I the way that you are with the Bears, I'm with the Panthers. Like the Panthers really feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars, where their quarterback sometimes looks like could be the face of the league, and other times looks like how the heck is he in the league?
It's
And
true. I'm not going to argue you there. I'm saying
yeah,
he
and
had one good game. I'm not saying he's been phenomenal. I just want to emphasize that.
yeah, I think it's just
Yeah.
the thing that like this is now the Carolina game and the Atlanta games. This is now him continuing to be good. It's not just it's like coming more often. I still am not a 100% believer in the Panthers, but I think like you said, I think they could make noise. I think they could be scary. And right now they have a better record than the Cowboys.
They do, and they beat the Cowboys this year. The Cowboys are on their path to possibly win the East. That could end up being an impressive win in hindsight. But at the same time, like, I'm not saying everybody hop on the Carolina Panthers bandwagon. I'm just saying you got to watch them now. And if you're in Tampa Bay, I'm worried. You still got to play them twice. You play them literally week 16 and week 18. Two
Yeah.
meetings with the Panthers might be their season. I'm just being serious. Carolina's competing with everybody. Whether they're good or not is still to be seen, I think, because we still have a course of the season to go. But I'm taking the Panthers seriously. That doesn't mean I think they're going to be contenders or they're going to go win a playoff game. I don't think any of that. But I think you have to take the Panthers seriously. When they're on your schedule, you play them and they're going to play you back. This isn't the Panthers of 2 years ago that tanked. They just
Yeah.
aren't. This is a good team.
Like
I don't want to say a good team, but a competitive team. They are
yeah,
above 500, so they are a good team right now. But we'll see. And for the Rams, I didn't really talk too much about them. They'll be fine. I'm not even worried
they'll
about
be fine.
this game. They'll be fine. This was one of those any given Sunday games. All righty, Matthias, go ahead. Broncos, Commanders. That was a thriller, didn't you think?
What a thriller. And I just think, I just want to mention overall this week, we had 3 games in this week alone that had possible catch of the year contenders. But this one,
True.
the one-handed Odell-esque catch that was made by, I think it was, what was it? Terry? No, Traylon Burks. I believe he was the one that caught it with a with the finger that had to have surgery on it earlier the year. That was special. And this game overall just continues to nail this narrative that I have of like the Broncos keep winning, but the more they win, the more uneasy I feel because I think their time is coming. Like they're going to have a due time and these wins they don't feel convincing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I at this point I don't think there's like if you were to ask me to bet on the Super Bowl, or who's going to the Super Bowl and who's winning it, I don't know. I have no favorites. Like this league is wide open and it's scary and the Broncos, with their record, with how their defense is played, they should be the one that's taking the helm of that. But this is the first time in a while where the defense has been the thing that faltered, and they still won because they won the coin flip of Bo Nix deciding to be good today. Like, that's kind of just how I look at it. Like, it's they're walking on eggshells. That's the type of season they have, but they're winning, so I can't really argue with that. Andrew, what are your thoughts of this game?
Bo Nix was pretty good in the game. I think the Broncos offense looked promising. And if I'm looking at the Denver Broncos right now, they're the best team in the AFC West at the very least. Kansas City is not going to come back from that deficit. And I'm worried they're not going to make a wild card spot. Like I even mentioned that a few weeks ago. I don't think Kansas City's making the playoffs this year. This is going to be a down year for them. They still may finish 10-7, maybe 9-8, maybe 8-9, honestly. They have Houston this week, and I'm worried if you're the Kansas City Chiefs playing a team like the Texans. So, um, yeah, I will say before we move on, Bo Nix looked good. Sean Payton's doing a hell of a job. I don't think we're talking about that enough. And Patrick Surtain in the defense, best defense in the NFL. And right now, I mean, you're probably right. We really don't know who could win the Super Bowl this year. But I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the teams with the best records to win the Super Bowl, and that's the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. How can you not take them seriously? They're playing the best football than anybody else in the league. And they've beaten the proven commodities this year. And the proven commodities like Buffalo and Kansas City haven't been the proven commodities of the past. This is a different NFL this season. Every year it's different. We turn the page. Detroit hasn't been the Detroit of the past. Green Bay looks better than Detroit now. Like, it's just the NFL. You turn the page on 2024, it's 2025. Right now, Denver and New England are the best teams in the NFL, and they're the Super Bowl favorites until they lose in the playoffs. Bottom line, that's just where I stand. So I like it. I like it for the NFL. It seems like it's going to be a new field of teams this year, and I'm all for it. I'm all encouraging of it. All right, let's move on to the Giants and Patriots. Oh, man. The Patriots are good, and there's a lot of people that aren't taking them seriously, and they did have an easy schedule, and that's also not their fault, but they're winning like mad. You can't fault the schedule always. Yeah, you could have an easy schedule and tear things apart, but at the same time, like, look at some of their wins. Like, they beat Buffalo, first things first, and the Giants have been bad, but the Giants have been in most of their games. Like, yeah, the Giants have only won 2 games, but they've been in like almost all of their games if you look at the box scores and the stats. But this really comes down to this. Youngway Koo, what kind of kick was
Oh
that?
my
Well,
god.
well, not even a kick. It wasn't even a kick. What was that? That might be the worst play I've seen since the butt fumble, Matthias. I'm dead serious. Like that play was awful. That was one of the worst plays I've ever seen. That goes up there with the butt fumble. That goes up there with Bleeding throwing 2 passes against the Giants, coincidentally. Like, that was one of the worst football plays I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I think
That was
it's
awful.
yeah,
And
like
he
that's
couldn't
up
even
there with
cover it in the press conference. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but he couldn't even cover it. How do you cover that? Like,
yeah.
what? Like, what? What was
Yeah.
that?
I don't even know what you could say. Like, first thing I want to say is just like that plays like, because we had a butt punt recently where the ball, like the punter kicked the ball, hit off of the center's butt and flew out of bounds for a safety. And this play, I I don't think I've ever seen before. And like with Young Wei Koo, I think his downfall needs to be studied because he used to be a surefire 100%, like, at least to me, in conversation with Justin Tucker of, oh, we need a field goal, let's take him out there, we know we're going to get the points. And now he's missing kicks for the Giants. Like, it's, or not even missing, but like he can't even get the kick off. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But
he
like
didn't
for,
miss the kick. He didn't
yeah,
kick it. It was the
yeah,
it
but
was the worst. It was literally one of the worst plays I've ever seen in my life, Matthias.
and like for the game itself, I think this was the Patriots reinforcing themselves as the bully. They were like, hey, I think we're being looked at as too much of the good guys. Let's show you that we could be mean. And man, they hit Gunner, I forgot, Gunner Ozalewski so hard that the letter fell off of his helmet,
I know.
like, and that like he got concussed. Like they showed a mean streak in this game. This felt like a bully picking on the younger sibling, and I don't know. The Patriots showed a mean side that I didn't think they had. So
And this
going
isn't the
to
Bill Belichick Patriots. This is the new era Mike Vrabel Patriots. And I don't think we're talking about that enough. I think this whole mantra of the Patriots being, the dynasty and all that. This isn't the dynasty Patriots. This is the new New England Patriots. This is the Mike Vrabel Patriots, the Drake May Patriots. And they are essentially coming out there and they're kicking you in the teeth. They're playing like a Dan Campbell style of football right now. That's how Mike Vrabel has these guys playing. I mean, they are kicking everybody they play in the teeth right now. Has their schedule been easy? It has been, but they have that win over Buffalo in Buffalo. Buffalo's got to go there and play now. And I'm not saying the Patriots are going to win that game, but at the same time, on the Bills, you know that's a must win at this point if you want to win that division because New England, you play the schedule in front of you too. They had an easy schedule because they were awful last year. New England's getting the job done, period. They're the number one seed in the AFC until someone else proves otherwise. All right, moving on to the Chiefs and Cowboys, Matthias. This one's yours, and this is another game we all got wrong. I'm glad we got it
yeah,
wrong, but you can go ahead and take the floor.
I'm not glad I got it wrong. I'm not trying to pay for dinner, but man, this is the Chiefs' downfall. Like not this game, but like this season, and it's just like what you said. I don't even think they're making the playoffs. And Patrick, it's not like oh Patrick Mahomes is having a down year. He's having a great statistical year, but he's not winning anymore. And the refs aren't giving them all the calls anymore. Like, were they favored by the refs? Yes, I think less so than what the media would want to say. But like a spade's a spade, they were getting favored calls. Um, but like now they're not even getting that anymore. And like in the close games where they used to win, they're not winning anymore. It's like, what is going on with this team? And like Dallas, like now they have CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens has been playing phenomenal all year. I'm totally not upset as a Steelers fan. But like Dallas looks scary. And like what you said earlier, the Eagles, they need to check their rearview mirror because they're playing hot and they're playing angry. And like, yeah, I think this game can very easily decide the directions of both teams. Andrew, what you got?
I mean, I'll just say it right off the rip. Dak Prescott might be one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL this year. He's been playing his ass off, man. He was great on Thanksgiving. Dak
Yeah.
Prescott's been great. I like watching the Cowboys. Like you know me, I always like to make jokes about the Cowboys, but you know they might lose in the playoffs again. But the Cowboys, to me, their offense is pretty damn good, and I think it's showing evident that George Pickens was a great addition to that offense. And I know as a Steelers fan, you could probably say the same thing. CeeDee
Mm-hmm.
Lamb and George Pickens on that offense has been great. I don't want to play the Cowboys if I'm anybody in the NFL. And if I'm Philadelphia, you're damn right I'm worried. Especially in a division that historically has not had repeat division winners. I think the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. I think their offense is better than the Philadelphia offense right now. And I think they're one of the best offenses in the NFC. It would not surprise me, Matthias, if the Cowboys won out. Maybe lost one game in between there. I think they're beating Detroit on Thursday night, but still, it would not surprise me if they won out. The Cowboys' offense has been good, and their defense against Kansas City, while not perfect, got the plays they needed to when they did. So, yeah, the defense needs work in Dallas, but I think their offense could play with anybody in the NFL. Moving on to the Ravens and Bengals to wrap things up, the night game. I just want to bring this up because it was Joe Burrow's return. And if you look at the Bengals schedule, the two hardest games left on their schedule are the Bills this week and the Ravens at home the following week. I'm not saying they're going to win out, but the Bengals are back in the mix to a degree, I think, especially if you look at how things are in the AFC North. And Joe Burrow won out last year. He won out last year. So to me, I'm not closing the door on that, even though it looks unlikely, especially. But the defense, as bad as the Bengals defense has been, they made the Baltimore Ravens offense look awful. The Bengals defense played probably their best game of the season. Maybe that was just because they had confidence from Burrow being back, but still, like Joe Flacco was putting up points for them. So, like, is Burrow's presence just that much different? I'm just being honest with you
Yeah,
because they still were putting up 47, no, 42 points against Chicago, and they let Chicago score 47 back on them. But still, like, I mean, the Bengals offense, I think, is good anyway, but their defense stepped it up against the Ravens, and that's divisional football in a nutshell. It gets weird, as I've said numerous times. Divisional football is weird, and that was a weird game. But if I'm Cincinnati, I might have a little bit more faith now. I really do. And it's possible, looking at their schedule, they could win out. It's going to be hard the next 2 weeks with Buffalo and Baltimore, but I'm not taking it off the table. What do you think?
it's just I don't know. Like the score looks like it was a blowout, 32-14. But 15 of those 32 points came from field goals. Like it wasn't like the Bengals were just slacking them over and over again. Like I mean, allowing 15, I mean, 5 field goals in a game is absurd in and of itself. And they could have beaten them with field goals alone. But like, I don't know. Last week, I was like, Joe Burrow shouldn't have come back. He should have just rested the rest of the season. I don't think that he's going to go on this miracle one and win out. I was closing the door on their season, hitting the snooze button. Now I'm looking at alarm a little bit different because Baltimore, this was supposed to be their week where they took the division and called it a day. But now we got question marks. Now Joe Burrow's back, and if the defense needs Joe Burrow to play confidently, for them to play confidently, here he is. And I'm not going to say they're scary. I'm not going to say that they're going to win out or that they're going to win the AFC North. Um, but the division leaders, they need to look out.
All right, I'll read you their schedule real quick, Matthias. They have the Bills this week, then the Ravens at home, then they're on the road for the Dolphins. They host the Cardinals, and then they host the Browns. The Bills and the Ravens game are literally the two hardest games left on their schedule. They could win out those last three.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I can't close the door on it.
Yeah, last week I
Close the door
did.
on it.
This week they're making me they made me pay
Yeah,
for it.
I'm not predicting that it's gonna happen, but and a loss to the Bills probably ends their season. But Joe Burrow at 4-8 last year. I think the Bengals were 4-8. They started the year and they finished 9-8. They won out last year. I've seen him do it once. I could see him do it again. I really could, especially with a schedule like that. And
Yeah.
if you're Baltimore and you end up 9-8, then Cincy's got the tiebreaker over you. And then if you're the Steelers and you're 9-8, then you have a split series because the Steelers and Bengals split. That could come down to some conference games or division games. If you're the Bengals, winning out right now could essentially win you the AFC North, in all honesty. Because the AFC North is not that good. It really
Such a horrible.
a division that looked like it probably would be really good. It's not at all. I'm just being honest. Outside of
So
the Browns, obviously. Um,
so
you know what it's time for, Matthias, right?
yep.
One sentence. One.
One pick.
Jake's picks are already up on the screen here. So let's go to last week, though, to review.
Horrid week.
It was not a great week for us. As you can see, we were over 5 in the first 5 results. It took the San Francisco 49ers winning for us to get our first W, all three of us. And then we kind of had some mixed picks throughout the way. We had a lot of similar picks, though, to start off that were all wrong. But we kind of ended it off nicely. I will say, though, I'm very glad Buffalo won for that very purpose. And if you look at the current score, Jake's at 68, Matthias at 58, I'm at 59. You and I, Matthias, are essentially dueling for second place, while
Yeah.
Jake is running away with it. But that's not to say that Jake can't blow it. Maybe this is the week he blows it. You never know. You never know.
Maybe.
We'll get to one sentence, one pick here. Jake left us his picks. Not too many sentences for his picks, so we'll just list his pick as we go along, Matthias, as we do this. All right. So
Yes.
Jake picked the Cowboys this Thursday. What's your pick, Matthias?
My sentence is I guess I have to hop on the bandwagon and I pick the Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cowboys as well. Detroit is just too injured, and I think they're done. All right, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Jake took the Ravens. Who are you taking, Matthias? This is your team.
The one thing the Steelers can do every year is beat Baltimore at least once. I and with that, I'm picking the Ravens. The
Whoa.
Ravens are going I think the Ravens are going to hold the lead for a bit and then the Steelers are going to come right back somehow. That was a bit more than a sentence, but my bad. Had to explain myself.
I'm taking the Steelers to win this game in an upset. They beat Baltimore every year, at least once a year. Why not on the road? It's just weird like that. Like usually this series is the road team wins a lot of times. So I'm taking the Steelers. My one sentence is don't count out Mike Tomlin. Don't count out Mike Tomlin. This is going to be a good AFC North football game. All right, Seattle and Atlanta. Jake picks Seattle. Matthias.
I picked Seattle, but my sentence is they better play this good.
I am taking the Seahawks as well. Raheem Morris needs to be fired. That's my sentence. He is not doing a good job with the Falcons, and they have a lot of offensive pieces. They should be a lot better than what they are. And they are in a very tough position for the future. Miami and New York Jets. Jake took the Dolphins. Matthias, your pick.
I take the Dolphins, and my sentence is they have won four in a row.
They've won four in a row. All right. Part of me wants to take the Jets because I feel like the Jets getting the win over the Falcons was pretty impressive overall from the standpoint that I think the Aaron Glenn era is starting to show a little bit. But I'm taking the Dolphins just because I want to play it safe, and the Dolphins are kind of getting hot at the right time against bad teams, nevertheless. But Mike McDaniel is in safe his job mode. I think Aaron Glenn has secured it with the 3 wins he's got. Matthias, all right. Well, Jake picked Tampa Bay against New Orleans. Matthias, I'm sure you're doing the same.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Um, because it's I'm going to pick the Buccaneers, and my sentence is Baker Mayfield playing.
All right. I'm taking the Bucks as well. The Saints are just bad. Indy, Jacksonville. Jacksonville has beaten Indy since 2014 every year in Jacksonville. Jake is taking Jacksonville to win. Matthias, you go ahead.
I take Indianapolis, and my sentence is this is their last chance for me.
You're taking the Colts?
Yeah,
With the stat I just gave you?
I know.
You know how I am. How am I, Matthias? I always take the team that's currently winning the streak until it's blown. Jacksonville to me is winning this game, and Jacksonville has Houston now on their tail. I don't think anyone's worried about the Colts. The Jaguars are leading the South, and they need to watch out for the Texans. Tennessee at Cleveland. I took the Titans last week to upset the Jaguars because the Jaguars were just so inconsistent. That was dumb of me, right? The Titans are awful. They might be the worst football team in the league right now. Well, Jake picked the Browns. Matthias, go ahead with your pick.
I got Cleveland. My sentence is you could put Dylan Gabriel out there, and the Browns would win.
You're probably right. I mean, the Titans are probably the worst football team I've ever seen, and I still believe in Cam Ward. He is in for a rodeo with how bad that roster is. Washington and Minnesota. Minnesota is who Jake took. These are two horrible football teams, Matthias. I don't know where to go here.
I'm going Washington. And my sentence is watch out for Super Mariota.
I like that. Watch out for Super Mariota. I can't take the Vikings with I can't even name the quarterback that played for them last week. But that play against the Seahawks, if you're the Vikings right now, honestly, if you're the Vikings front office, if you're the Vikings front office, how do you let Sam Darnold go? In hindsight,
Ah,
Seattle loves it. I'll say that. The Seahawks are totally cool with it. They love it. They're good. They showed it. It's the Sam Darnold revenge game again. Sam Darnold, by the way, is winning all his revenge games. He beat the Jets last year, and then he beat the Vikings this year.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're in the Vikings front office right now, how do you make that move? But nevertheless, it is what it is. JJ McCarthy, they think, is the future. He still might be. He's still young, and it's still his first year as a starter. We can talk about that another day, though. I don't want to go too overboard. Cincinnati and Buffalo. Jake took Cincinnati here. Jake might believe in the winning out. What do you think?
I'm I'm so tempted, but I'm gonna go with Buffalo. My sentence is Josh Allen needs it.
You're right. Josh Allen needs it, but I'm too tempted. I'm taking the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals this week. And I don't think Josh Allen has ever beaten Joe Burrow. I might be wrong on that, but I think he's like 0-2 against him. I think maybe 0-3.
Who knows?
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think Josh Allen has ever beaten Joe Burrow. So I'm just tempted to take the Bengals because of that. Denver at the Raiders. Denver was picked by Jake. I'm sure you're taking Denver as well, but I'm going to let you talk about it.
Yep. Denver, and my sentence is they could win this game without their offense scoring.
I'm taking the Broncos. And honestly, you're probably right. This could be a 2-0 game, Broncos. That's how bad the Raiders offense is. All right, this is a game I'm excited about. Bears, Packers. Jake's picking the Bears.
Yeah,
You're also picking the Bears, aren't you, Bears fan?
probably. Probably. Oh. I'm picking the Bears, and my sentence is I feel like I'm flying too close to the sun with this team.
It's at Lambeau Field against a team that I just think overtook the original division leader in the Lions. I have to ride out with the Packers here. I'm taking Green Bay a lot to a little. The Bears finally get exposed. All right. Rams, Cardinals. Jake took the Rams. Is this an any given Sunday game again, Matthias?
It's any given Sunday that Matthew Stafford gets revenge on someone.
All right, so you're taking the Rams, I assume.
Yep.
I'm also taking the Rams. The Cardinals just suck. And Jacoby Brissett has had moments with the Cardinals. They just suck. There's nothing good about the Cardinals. And I think Jonathan Gannon is also done. I think we could all agree on that, right? I think this is his last season with the
Yeah.
Rams. They're just the only team to lose to Tennessee for crying out loud. They suck, man. They just suck.
They're so
All
bad.
right. These two games I'm actually really excited about. Not as much the second one, but this one in particular. This is going to be a good football game. Houston, Kansas City. Jake is out on Kansas City in this game. He's taking the Texans.
That's a dang good pick. Um, I got the Texans, and my sentence is Will Anderson Jr.
I'm going to take the Texans too. I'm going to ride the train. I love their defense, man. I really do. I'm not so sure I love their offense. But Davis Mills when he's under center, they're fun to watch more than CJ Stroud is. I mean, honestly, like since CJ Stroud's rookie year, can I just be honest? I don't think he's been very impressive. Last year he had some moments, but like in the playoff game he looked really good, but like against the Chargers. But other than that, I feel like I have more questions about Stroud now than I did his rookie year. I really do. And I'm
Yeah,
rooting for him as a former Buckeye. I mean,
that could be a whole other podcast episode by itself.
but Davis Mills looks better than him right now. I'm just being honest. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the case, but yeah, but the Texans defense is really good, and I'm taking them to upset Kansas City on the road as well. I won't be surprised if the Chiefs win though, because they are desperate. Philly and the Chargers. Jake's got the Chargers here. Matthias, go ahead.
I've got the Eagles. This is just one of the games where everything just comes together for the Eagles, and I don't know how to explain it.
I'm taking the Chargers in this game. The Eagles have to watch for the Cowboys. That's my sentence. Eagles better watch the Cowboys. All right, and that is one sentence, one pick. Our final picks, we're going to show them off to you. Here they are. That's our final picks right there.
And it's full glory.
Full of glory indeed. Jake running away with it. Matthias and I fighting for second place. But we do have some different picks with Jake this week. At least I think I have a lot of the same picks as Jake, believe it or not. Minnesota and Washington we disagree with him on.
Man, I really picked Indiana.
I'll let you change it last second.
No,
He's riding
because I
out
feel
with
the same
Cole.
way about Chicago, but it's like I gotta. I feel like they're going to win. I gotta root for the team I think is going to win. I'm just
Well,
not sold.
well, you got to go with what your gut tells you, right?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. You go with what your gut tells you. All righty, and that was one sentence, one pick. All right, we got a little bit of time for the NBA, Matthias. How much time you want? Five
Um,
6 minutes.
5, 6 minutes. I'll go with whatever you give me.
We'll go with six. Go ahead, Matthias. The floor is yours for NBA.
So the first thing I want to talk about with the NBA, within the week of us not doing this episode, we went from congratulating Chris Paul on a long retirement tour to saying goodbye to Chris Paul because the Clippers cut him. And that was the cutthroat business that I was talking about earlier. And I think that is a horrible move, a horrible PR move if you are the Clippers, because he deserved a farewell tour and he got a farewell 2 games. Like, absolute disaster. Um, Another thing in the news, Giannis, as of this podcast coming out, he went from scrubbing all of Milwaukee Bucks from his social media page, and then in the game that happened last night, so Wednesday night, he got injured with a non-contact calf injury. Um, Hopefully, it's not serious, but yeah, it looks like he wants a trade and he's for real this time because he's talked about his future in Milwaukee multiple times. Even before he won the ring, he was talking about wanting to leave or thinking about leaving Milwaukee. But Milwaukee, I think they need to take it seriously. But if he's injured, I don't know anymore. Um, Another thing that I really want to talk about is the MVP race because
Anthony
actually,
Edwards. Anthony Edwards.
no, um, because to me the top three is Shea, Luca, and Nikola Jokic.
I
All
agree.
three of them. It's just that like all three of them in any other decade of basketball, this would be a surefire MVP season for either of those three. But because they all exist at the same time, doing this in the same season, we're like, I don't know, a 28, 9, and 8 season might not be the MVP. It's like, what are you talking about? Um, yeah, like all of those teams are playing phenomenal. The Cavs, I am starting to worry.
I
Um,
am too.
yeah,
I am too.
they're 13-10, and this is the point of the season where like Desmond Bain and the Orlando Magic, they're turning around. The Boston Celtics just overtook them with their loss to the Trailblazers, and they lost to the Celtics earlier this week. And Detroit and Toronto coming out of 2 weeks ago talking about them like, yeah, they're playing really good, and now they're second. Like this East looks strong again. Like
We shall see, Matthias.
yeah, and
You
it's just like
honestly, with all due respect to the NBA, Matthias, do you believe in the Raptors, the Heat,
yes,
the Magic? Okay, I'll give you the Magic. Okay. Do you believe in the Raptors? Do you believe in the Heat? Do you
I
believe in the
believe
Celtics? Like those teams above the Cavs. I'm worried about the Cavs. I agree with you. They look concerning, but I do not think we are going to see the Raptors, Heat, and Celtics ride this wave much longer. I'll give the Knicks, Pistons, and the Magic the benefit of the doubt. Those
I
three
also
teams to me
believe the
seem weird.
Raptors.
You do?
Like the Raptors, they've also been playing out of their mind, and this looks consistent. Brandon Ingram's not that young kid playing in LA anymore. He's playing like a star. Maybe an all-star, maybe, but he's playing good. Emmanuel quickly leading the team in assists. Jakob Pertl, and they still have Scotty Barnes. Like that's a solid team. And RJ Barrett there. Like they got pieces from the Knicks, they got pieces from New Orleans. Like this is a good team. Like and everything is just now clicking to the point that it looked like Detroit was running away with the East, and now Toronto's knocking on their door. Does that mean they're going to win a playoff game? I mean, a playoff series? Maybe, maybe not. But like, I think for the regular season, the Cavs are going to end in a underperformance. That doesn't mean that they are going to underperform in the playoffs, but I think their record is going to not fully reflect their strengths until we get to the playoffs, which could be bad because they're going to give themselves a harder route.
I guess we'll find out. There's still a lot about the East I have question marks about. Doesn't mean, and the Cavs are one of those question marks. I want to emphasize that.
Yeah.
Um, who's stopping the Thunder this year? Anybody?
The Thunder.
They literally could go 74-8. I was talking about this with Jake last week. They literally could go 74-8, dude. I'm not even kidding.
It's scary. We're
They
in
and
scary
they
alley.
have Utah's pick and who was the other? Is it Portland?
Clippers.
No, it's the Clippers. That's right. And I do want to bring up Chris Paul real quick. You're absolutely right. And how many times do I have to advocate on this podcast that the Clippers are not just a retirement home organization, but they're laughable. They're not just all the old players go to play for the Clippers. Like, here's our big free agency signing, Brooke Lopez. Like, I'm just being serious. Like, Chris Paul. Like, they're literally the retirement home of the NBA. They're terrible. And the Kawhi stuff hasn't really helped them out. And as I said, I love Steve Ballmer personally, but they are a mess of an organization. Just a mess. They're just a mess. They are an old folks' home for retiring NBA players. That's what they are. So I am disgusted by how the Chris Paul thing went down. Let the retirement home show off their retirees. Okay? Let them show off Chris Paul one more time. But granted, at the same time, you necessarily can't argue with the Clippers because the Clippers don't have any youth on that roster. It's all the old guys.
I
It's
mean,
all
that's
the
how
old
you.
guys. And I don't know how pundits in the NBA aren't talking about that enough. And I know I'm like harping on that a little bit, but like they literally are not talking about the fact that the Clippers, and I love Ty Lue, I love Kawhi Leonard's career statistics overall, James Harden, not tons of respect for a lot of those players. But come on, man. You can't sign Brooke Lopez and another old veteran. Like honestly, like and expect to be competitive. You can't. You cannot do it. So the Clippers to me are a retirement home, and I don't know how we're not talking about this enough. I really don't.
I
That
think
should,
it's because there's nothing to talk about anymore. It's just like they're not contending. They're barely a team,
but they went
and it.
9-1 last year, and everybody, all the big pundits were going crazy over it. Like, let's watch them lose in the playoffs. They lost to Denver, I think, last year.
Yes, but yeah, like I don't even think they have a chance to. They have a better chance of getting the first pick, which would be given to the Thunder, than they do sniffing any sort of win this year.
Yeah.
Like it's scary.
And I don't want to make this all about the Clippers, so we're going to move on. But granted, that's just my thoughts. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me or not, Matthias, but
Yeah,
I
no,
just
I
think it's getting tedious with the Clippers.
I agree, except for the fact of like since they have no youth, why not keep Chris Paul? Like what the heck, dude? He's one of
You're
your
not
best
wrong there
players of all
either.
time.
You're not wrong there either, Matthias. I won't argue you there. I'm kind of in, I could see both ways. It's the best way to say it. But, Chris Paul being the legendary Clipper he is, you would think they'd at least give him a farewell tour, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well. All
Oh
right, you
wow.
want to hear what I love DK Metcalf had to say?
Sure. What's the comment this week?
He wants us to talk about Naquan Tomlin.
Who?
Naquan Tomlin. His comment is talk about Naquan Tomlin.
Let me look up Naquan Tomlin.
He plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's number 30. But he's currently playing for the Charge. So he's a G League player.
I mean, he played this recent game. So I'll say this: he had 7 points, 1 assist, and 4 rebounds. Um, and we
Against
could have
Indiana.
used. You said what?
He played against Indiana. He had 6 points against the Pacers.
We could be using more points from him. We would really like help in our forwards. Yeah, I don't really know what else you want me to say. I love DK Metcalf, but
It's your burner, right?
yeah, my
Isn't here
burner.
to say it's your burner. So
Yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking coming up with this comment, I guess. But yeah, no,
Naquan
that's all I
Tomlin.
got.
I
Hope
uh,
he
I
has
haven't
a
watched enough Cavs basketball to see Naquan Tomlin play. I'll be completely honest with you.
yeah, fair
Thank you for
enough.
the comment. I love DK Metcalf, and we bring up your comments on the show because that's what we're all about here. That's what we're all
Yeah,
about. We love our comments.
for all the other commenters, especially on the shorts, I appreciate them, even though I'm not even on the shorts. But I appreciate
We're
you
on the
just.
shorts.
I
You
wasn't
were
on
on
them.
last week because you were off last week.
Yeah, exactly. I said I wasn't on them.
Oh, okay, gotcha. My
But
bad.
yeah, I appreciate your guys' comments, love, hate, whatever. That just means we're getting spread more. Um, keep them up. Obviously, we brought them up in the show. That's it. We all love sports.
We all love sports, and that's what we're about. If you disagree with us, please vocalize it, and we'll explain our points even more and why we're right. But that's okay. And sometimes we're wrong. Like we were 0 for 5 on the first NFL games this
God.
week. And we were called out for it. And I totally understand. I totally do. We were wrong. And this is the thing, Matthias, I always like to emphasize about sports and sports media. We're forecasters. We're the weather people. I mean, we tell you what we see. We're just a little bit more opinionated than the weather people. The weather people tell you the weather, and that's the weather. We're gonna give you our opinions. I'm honest about my bias. I always will be to what I believe in. And I'm sure you'd say the same thing. But we're also human. We're going to be wrong. We're going to be right at times. And you got to call balls and strikes. And so you could comment whatever you'd like. If you disagree with us strongly on something, we appreciate it. We really do. Because that's what sports is all about. It's about disagreeing. It's about talking. It's about having fun. At the end of the day, sports is about having fun. If you're a pro athlete, it's about making money too. And it's about winning. I get it. Even in sports debates, we like to win and whatnot. But this is also, we do this podcast for fun. Let's just be flat out honest. We do it for fun because we love doing this. We love sports. We love talking about it. But that's the joy of it all. And so if you agree with us, disagree with us, like us, don't like us, we're all for it. Let us know. Let us know. Matthias, I'll let you conclude.
Just to conclude, yeah, that's why we listen to. That's why we watch, listen, talk about sports. It's a thing we love. It's a thing we can bond over, whether we love it or hate it. Yeah, and with that, we will that will probably conclude this episode of Raw Takes and Company. Um, you could see Andrew's socials on his side, and you could see my socials probably, hopefully, right here where my hand's not blurred. But yeah,
It'll be above it'll be above your the video.
yeah, even better. It'll be above my new braids where I don't have my afro anymore. Um, and yeah, with that, make sure like, comment, subscribe, share to all your friends. Yeah, and with that, that will wrap up this episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining Raw Takes and Company, everybody.